Welcome back to NBA Cinema, guys. So look, we got to talk about this as JJ Redick and Rob Pelinka has addressed the media, and it was a lot of things that we wanted to know coming into this season. Obviously, it is Luka's team. Now you look at WME Sports. Kendrick Perkins has talked about this already about the power shift with Clutch Sports and LeBron James having a lot of power within the Lakers, kind of shifting to Luka. You see Jackson Hayes is with WME Sports, also DeAndre Ayton and Luka being the big fish. This is how these agencies leverage, their power with certain organizations by having the biggest or one of the top players in the league. And Luka's looked at as one of the future faces, well, current faces of the league right now, but looking to be one of those guys. If he can win a championship, he will be looked at in a different light. And so, one thing before we get into these videos, Redick said last year at the end of the season, players need to be in championship shape. Well, he talked about that today. Let's check it out.
We're going to ask of guys to be in championship shape, have championship communication, and championship habits. And that's a daily commitment to that. Our guys this summer have been awesome. I know LeBron is always committed to those things. Luka's been committed. So that's, to me, that's what it is. It's a daily commitment. And Saban has this thing. It's don't tell me, show me. And so that's what we're asking of our players. I get the sense from talking to him all summer, spending time with him, not only just here but at the Backstreet Boys, that this is his life now. This is his routine. This is just a daily commitment to the new standard that he's set for himself. His excitement level, not just in what he hopes the season will be, but his excitement level in embracing this new standard was very high. Every time I've talked to him, when I saw him in Vegas, and then you see him play in Eurobasket, and he's moving better, he's defending, like all the things that you saw at the end of last year, where the layoff from the calf injury, whatever emotions he was going through post trade, like it had an effect on him. So again, it goes back to what I just said about LeBron. I expect the best version of Luka, and it's my job as a coach to bring that out on a daily basis.
Now, there was so much speculation with teams being attached to LeBron James this offseason. Obviously, we know after the Olympics, a year ago, him and Steph talked about wanting to potentially play together, and there was a need for LeBron, an infusion of talent on that team for them to potentially be successful and reach that mountaintop again. Also, the Dallas Mavericks, we know the affinity LeBron has for playing with Kyrie Irving, and the feeling is mutual with Kyrie. We thought maybe that was a team, just didn't see a pathway that made sense, that would happen. So LeBron has kept a rather low profile, would only see him in videos with his wife or maybe Draymond Green this summer, but wouldn't see him all that often. So they're going to speak about LeBron, his contract year, the end of his career, and also the shift from it being LeBron's team to Luka's team.
Lakers, it's going to be the first time he's in a contract year. How does that affect your team building process as you not only have to take into account this year's roster, but the optionality of the team for years to come?
Yeah, I think we've talked before. The first thing we want to do in terms of LeBron and his future is just give him absolute respect to choose his story with his family in terms of how many years he's going to continue to play. He's earned that right, and he's the best one to talk about that in terms of how many years he'd like to play. But we were very intentional this summer in terms of the pieces we add with Luka and LeBron once LeBron opted in, making sure that they had the necessary pieces around them to be on a really competitive, strong team. And we built into that and for that. In terms of the future, obviously, again, with what I started your question with, first things first would be for him to be able to make the decisions he wants to in terms of how long he wants to play. And we're going to continue to honor and respect that and let him speak into that.
You kind of answered. I just want to put a point on it, though. If he was interested in extending beyond this year, are the Lakers interested in having LeBron James as part of the team?
Yeah, I think I've said before in a previous question, we would love if LeBron's story would be to retire as a Laker. That'd be a positive story.
On about the transition that we are seeing taking place from this kind of going from LeBron's team to Luka's team?
Yeah, I mean, I can handle that. I mean, I talk to LeBron fairly frequently and had two great in-person meetings with him. One, he finally made it out to the Hamptons, so he and I had dinner in Sag Harbor right around free agency, and then was able to spend some time with him here in LA a couple weeks ago, and I came away from that thinking that he's in a great spot mentally, and know he's going to give us his absolute best.
Now, people may have taken what Rob Pelinka said as a positive for re-signing LeBron, but he was being vague. He said that he always thought that it would be a great story if LeBron ended his career as a Laker. He went around that answer without directly answering it, but trying not to offend LeBron at the same time. Now, JJ said he spoke to LeBron. LeBron's bought all in for this upcoming season, out in Sag Harbor, up in the Hamptons in New York, whatever, right? But I did find that interesting the way Palinka answered that question because him and Nico, they went behind LeBron's back and they did that deal, and obviously you don't owe anybody anything, but um, Anthony Davis being on Clutch, being LeBron's boy, that was the first move LeBron didn't know about, and people gonna point back to that Morris twin video. I'm saying that he knew uh before AD knew, right? They probably came and said, "This is done already. Anything else you want?" But they didn't go say, "Do you want to do this?" Right? So that's what I'm saying. When I say LeBron knew, I mean he knew before the moment Anthony Davis knew. He didn't know uh before they did it. That was Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison. And so LeBron obviously felt some type of way about that. That was the defining moment that it was no longer his team. Now, if you think about it, though, he is. They did him one more solid by bringing him, bringing his son into the fold, allowing him to play on the G League team, allowing him to get father son minutes for the Lakers. But they're moving forward with this roster, and I'm gonna look at what they potentially do this upcoming season. Uh, when it's within a trade window prior to the trade deadline, right? What are they trying to do to build this roster to compete? Because when I look at it as uh, is it a championship team? I don't know. We're gonna have to see how Luka comes out. I like what I saw this offseason. He looked more like a younger Luka as far as the way he was moving, but a much better version, obviously, because he's gotten better over time from a skill perspective. But he shed some good fat. I'll say that because he might even weigh similar, right? He might look similar on the scale, but he has become really solid, and he's reshaped his body. He has his routine. Let's see how long he sticks to that. During the season when you're on the road, the temptation is there just to grab, that Snicker sitting over there on the dresser or whatever. I want to see how Luca handles that. But coming into this year, it looks good. It looks good. LeBron, I saw him working on his game, working on catching the ball and shooting off the ball a little bit. And LeBron can actually be more dangerous if he is the second threat away from the ball, right? You're sending a double to Luca because he's the one with the ball in his hands penetrating, and you got LeBron streaking behind the defense. That could pose some issues for teams, but we'll see how that works out for the Lakers, man. A lot of these media days I'm gonna be checking in on. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.